Never mind.
This is jokes. This is jokes.
This is theater.
Hi everybody! Happy Pride Month! Thank you so much for coming. Did you guys know that you have to pay $31.50 in a 9/11 fee to fly out of a New York City airport? Did you guys know this? I found out about this recently, and I thought that was outrageous because those towers were the ugliest things I'd ever seen. I was 6 months old when that happened. They wouldn't let me help hijack the plane, and now they're telling me I have to pay $31.50 just to fly out of JFK. This is disgusting. I don't even get to participate. Anyway, speaking of 9/11, I grew up in this like really traditional Jewish community in California. And people always, they think it's like a culture shock when I came to New York City, but the Jewish community and being queer in Brooklyn is very similar. It's like mostly running into people that you had public sex with. Like, I was just back there, right? And I'm walking down the street like with my parents, and I see this guy. I know exactly what that man's circumcision looks like. And it's not pretty, believe me, like they took out way too much. But I just walked by and like Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. It wasn't always easy, like being trans in this like traditional Jewish community. But I did lose my virginity in that synagogue, so it gave as much like an experience as possible way. My parents used to have to force me to go to synagogue, but once I started sucking dick in that bathroom, girl, I was there every week. And I'm a Hebrew teacher now. My parents, they are not proud of me. My mom, after she found out, she's like, "You don't speak Hebrew." And I'm like, "Girl, no, I speak enough Hebrew." And she's like, "You're not a Hebrew teacher. You're nothing but professional shakronit." And I was like, "What is that?" And she's like, "It means liar in Hebrew." And you didn't know that one, did you? And I was like, "Oh." I always translated that word as entrepreneur. I have been on Duolingo recently, like trying to brush up. But you're on Duolingo, it's a lot of pressure. That fucking owl, that animated owl, it's like I already have my parents breathing down my neck, and now this owl is like, Aviva, like it's 11 p.m., like why have we practiced yet today? Aviva, it's been 3 days. You haven't practiced your Hebrew once. Aviva, your ancestors were persecuted for 2,000 years. 6 million people died in the gas chambers. You can't even spend 15 minutes learning how to conjugate the hippo-L form. I've been emailing Duolingo to see if they could take out that last part, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. I do have this like private Hebrew tutoring business too, and a lot of my students are adults, and they are not always so interested in like learning Hebrew. They want more like the TS Dress experience. They want like the Bakeoho.
Oh my God.
Like I had this one adult student, he's over at my house. And for a lesson, I leave the room for a second. I come back and he's looking at my stuff. And he finds like my ex-boyfriend's like strap on. And he's like, "Oh, you guys got the kind that squirts cum, wow." And I was like, okay, like first of all, that's not my choice. Like that's gonna leave a mess. And like second of all, like let's sit you down and teach you alphabet right now, huh? Like that's what we should be doing. I had this other student, he was like this chaser, and he had been in my DMs like for like months. And I showed up and he was wearing this like full like Duke outfit. You can switch the side if you want. This is and I was like, "Wow, like you are really dressed up today." And he's like, "Oh, it's because I'm the Grand Duke of West Arctica." And I was like, "Oh, like that's so cool. Like, what? Tell me more." And he's like, "Oh, I was like looking at a map of like Antarctica one day, and I noticed there was a part that hadn't been claimed by any country at all. It was just virgin, uncharted land. And so I decided to claim it as my own. So I wrote a letter to the United Nations, and I registered it as a country, and I have never been there. And it's like, I'm sure it is a lot of work being the Grand Duke of a made-up country. Yeah. Anyway, this man wanted to learn Hebrew because he thought that Jews had the secret to magic, which I think that's really silly, because if we could do magic, we would not have so many stomach issues. Like, believe me, like, if I could do magic, it would not take me 2 hours to do it. Girl. Well, so enough of the Jews, it's Pride Month. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the LGBTQ plus community. And let's actually talk about the plus this time. You know, we never talk about the plus, you guys. And this is the real dregs of society. This is our left-handed people. This is our minds. We have a representation in the room. Thank you, Janet. And we have our ventriloquists. Did you guys even know? Did you guys know that the PLAS stands for left-handed people, mimes, and ventriloquists? Did you guys know that? I bet you didn't. You know, it used to stand for intersex and asexual. You remember that? When Eric Adams became mayor, they got kicked out of the acronym. We're left with a fucking ventriloquist. Have you guys ever met a ventriloquist?
Yeah. No.
Oh, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. You might be at a party one day in this city, you know, this city where anything goes. And you see someone with a sock puppet on their knee. And that sock puppet opens its mouth. This is the most obscene and offensive thing that you have ever heard in your life. And then the ventriloquist says, wow, Slappy, like, you've had just a little bit too much to drink today, haven't you? Like, we're just gonna brush over that. And we're like, oh, the Jews run the banks.
Oh.
The Jews control the weather. And then it's like, oh, like, Slappy, like, we're gonna, like, put you in the Uber now. But, like, I just don't think that's okay, personally. And people do accuse me of dividing the community, but you just can't hold these sock puppets accountable. Like, they don't show up to their sort of justice circle. That's what they're supposed to do. Anyway, speaking of ventriloquists, are there any transmen in the room? Can the transmen make some noise? Are there only one? Whoa. Alright, I used to date mostly cis men, right? And date is a really strong word for what I did with those men. Most of it was in a car. Yeah, I used to date mostly cis men, and it was just not working out that well. So I was like, I had this brilliant idea, which I was like, I should date trans men instead. But you know what I learned, you guys? Trans men are men. They just do it a little differently than the cis men, right? Like, cis men will drive you up to the railroad tracks, they'll fuck you, and then they'll leave you to walk home, you know, like, true story, right? Trans men, they'll take you out to dinner, they'll explain nuclear cinema to you, they'll get you flowers, and then they ghost you if you don't want to top them. I've done this joke too many times. You know, but it's just really feels very true. You know, I was worried about doing this joke with the trans audience, you know, because I don't want to offend anybody, but then I remembered trans men love it when women are mean to them, so. But I do, now that I've done this joke, I feel like I also need to issue like a public apology for it, because I've received a lot of backlash from the trans masculine community. Like, I've had people say that this joke caused them like irreparable harm. Like a couple like broke up over it. Also true story. So I just want to say, just to save face with the trans masculine community, I just want to say that I, Aviva Pro, do not think that all trans men are bottoms. I just think the ones that I have met have been bottoms. Out there. And it's just like something about me that's giving like, I'm gonna rail you with my rock hard cock. And it might just be like, you know, it takes me a little bit too long to douche. Like it takes me 2 hours, you know, and that's okay with me. Like I love being Jewish, and I'm gonna do the good with the bad. Like I'm not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. No pun intended. Anyway, yeah, like after that first hour, douching is like a spiritual experience for me. Like I've seen the 10 Commandments. I've seen the burning bush. It's all good out of there. Like, you guys remember that earthquake a little while ago?
Yeah.
That was me. I had beans that day. And that might not have been so good for the tri-state area. But me and 8 inches looking for TS, we had the time of our lives. Anyway, this is the last thing. I did that joke. First time I did that joke back in October. I had this guy come up to me afterwards, and he's like, has anybody ever told you that you look as beautiful as the full moon on a full moon night? And I was like, no one's ever told me that before, like, thanks. And he's like, you know, like, I heard your joke, and like, for no reason at all, like, just because it occurred to me, I was just on the top of my head, like, I was thinking, I just wanted to share that I have never bottomed before, I only ever top. And I know that might be hard for you to believe because you've never been with a real man before. Anyway, we went home that day, and he was like, don't tell anybody that I'm actually a little bitch. And I just want to tell you guys, it's okay. It's okay to be honest. It's okay to be a little bitch. Just like, don't think I'm going to keep that shit to myself. Anyway, I'm going to be